What up, y'all? Welcome to the Gunslinger Gaming Frosty Pints podcast. I'm Gobi. With me tonight is Doc, Omega, and Masami. How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Monday is over. The world is better.
Yay.
As long as the day's over, it's all good. I had so much enthusiasm there.
I know.
Speaking of non-enthusiastic, Sony will not be at E3 2020.
Oh,
Didn't
why
see that
not?
coming.
What the fuck, Sony? What's your problem? They're too good for E3 now.
Wait, did they give a reason?
Yeah, they gave a corporate speech, which is basically not a reason, just a whole bunch of shit. So this will be the second year that they're not at E3 because they're moving above and beyond E3. They enjoy engaging in the what's their fucking statement? It's hilarious.
Here is a full E3 is a signature event celebrating the video game industry and showcasing the people, brands, and innovation redefining entertainment loved by billions of people around the world. E3 2020 will be an exciting, high-energy show featuring new experiences, partners, exhibitor space, activations, and programming that will entertain new and veteran attendees alike. Exhibitors' interest in our new activations is gaining the attentions of brands that view E3 as key opportunities to connect with the video game worlds.
Yeah, okay, so that was E3's statement.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I want to know why Sony's not going.
This is. I'm just gonna go until my microphone cuts out. So this is Sony's. This is Sony's statement. After thorough evaluation, SIE has decided not to participate. Right? Right?
To recap that, after thorough evaluation, did you want to continue?
Okay. Yeah, no, alright, I got it. I got it under control now. After thorough evaluation, SIE has decided not to participate in E3 2020. We have great respect for the ESA as an organization, but we do not feel that the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we are focused on this year. We will build upon our global event strategy in 2020 by participating in hundreds of consumer events across the globe. Our focus is on making sure that fans feel part of the PlayStation family and have access to play their favorite content. We have a fantastic lineup of titles coming to PlayStation 4, and with the upcoming launch of PlayStation 5, we are truly looking forward to a year of celebration with our fans. So that's their corporate bullshit statement that they put out that means absolutely nothing about why they're not attending E3. It's just basically they don't want to be at E3 anymore because they don't want booths. They don't want the big shit show on stage. Maybe they finally caught on that E3... Basically, the only reason I watch E3, the only reason I know anybody watches E3 is for the epic cringe.
Yes. Well, and they might not want to be on the same stage as Xbox anymore because, they're better than Xbox.
If anything, that's what I think it is. They probably want to do their own big event or whatever and announce whatever announcements they're going to make and do it on their own and don't want it to be lost in the news of a bunch of competitors' announcements and all the other noise coming out of a conference as huge as this. So if they have like big stuff to announce, if they do it on their own time, it won't be lost in the noise of everything else.
They've become the Julia Roberts and the Anne Hathaway of gaming. me.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying because it's like every other major company still does E3, even though it's usually a shit show. It's just pretty much they want to be on their own, just like, we won't allow crossplay because it's bad for our customer base. No, it's not. Fuck you. Stop being a stuck-up prick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, somewhat related, I guess, tangentially at least. I was surprised to learn today, in fact, that PlayStation has, by far the largest market share in the console environment.
Mm-hmm.
Their console division is the only thing keeping Sony afloat. That's an overstatement, but it's still it's their most profitable division.
I mean, to put it bluntly, they don't need to do E3.
Well, see, they did. They weren't. until the PS4, which granted they did some good things, but the biggest thing was Microsoft shot themselves in the foot with the Xbox One by not launching backwards compatibility straight out of the gate and trying to do this always online console shit. Microsoft made a lot of bad decisions at the beginning of last generation, and because of that, Sony and the PlayStation really gained a lot of market share because the PlayStation 4 was the better console when the two of them came out. And I'm saying that as an Xbox, I'll say fan. I enjoy Xbox. I'll never buy a PS4 because of their controller and other reasons, but they made a lot of good choices at the beginning of the last generation. And now we're getting ready to join another console generation with the PS5 coming out and the Xbox Series X coming out. So it should be interesting this generation on what happens to that console share. I do think Microsoft is poised, if they play their cards right, to take back the console wars with releasing all of their games on PC and Xbox and making them cross-play between Xbox and PS or Xbox and PC. I think that's going to help them. Their biggest problem is lack of stellar first-party games. I mean, that is something that Sony has done well this last generation, and I don't see them dropping the ball this next generation. I think they're still going to have those stellar first-party titles like Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War. Like, I have a feeling those are going to keep going. Microsoft's got to find an answer and got to put up some good first-party games if they expect to compete, not just on a hardware level, but overall.
This is the awkward silence of a bunch of PC players.
Yes. I mean, we could talk about some mobile gaming stuff because
No, fuck that. Let's talk about Diablo 4.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, you want another dead conversation?
Yeah, Diablo 4.
Diablo 4 hands-on preview came out 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I think.
Well, this article says a day ago, the one I'm looking at from Games Radar. I will say, if this game has controller support on PC, so Blizzard, pull your fucking head out of your ass and give us controller support on PC. I definitely would be interested in playing this game.
That is, the controller support is so not even on my radar as an issue. So it's gonna be obviously
Yes,
it's
I
a
know,
PC game first. So what came out basically is just a stellar like graphics preview, and a little bit of gameplay footage, and the in-game cinematics look beautiful. The whole environment looks way more like D2 than it does D3. It's not like super polished, clean, nice, cartoonish. It is dark. It is gritty. There's good texture to it. We're following the druid. We're seeing a druid character play. Haven't seen that since D2. Fucking love druids. And monsters, big attacks. Lots of pretty lights. There's nothing about this that I don't like, and I'm looking forward to Diablo 4 coming out sometime in the next 10 years.
Honestly, I'm surprised that they released a preview this soon. It's almost kind of a see, we're working on it sort of gesture.
It really does. Yeah, this does follow the pattern of D3 though. They did the same thing with D3 where they released gameplay footage periodically throughout development just to prove to people that they were still working on it. But it's like, okay, I believe that you're working on it and I believe this is a thing, but I also believe that you programmed in all this shit just so you could make this video, and there might not be a lot of work behind that, like more expansive work all around that. So yeah, I think they're doing stuff deliberately for demos at this point. Blizzard is notorious for working slowly.
Yeah, but that's not uncommon in the industry, as they, for these demos, they just like carve out one thing, polish it up best they can, and not worry about everything that's broken that they just don't show you. and they show you what works and what looks good, and get you excited for what's coming.
It is unusual, and it is characteristic of Blizzard to do that over the course of a decade before they put a game out, though.
I was just saying, I know you guys are joking about the whole 10 years and stuff. What optimistically
Only
what
half
do you
joking.
feel like what do you feel your best case scenario for Diablo 4 being released into the world?
All right, legitimately,
3 best case.
20
best case.
Best case, like miracle best case, 2022.
Okay, that's kind of where I was leaning to.
Realistically, 23. I would say it takes 3 years.
Okay,
I
mean that's
I disagree, but I agree. Best case. Best case.
you're like
is 2 years.
2025.
2023, 2024 is more likely in my mind. 2025, somewhere around there, is when we'll actually get a finished game that's ready to come out, and Blizz is happy with it, and they put it out.
I was gonna say 4 or 5 years myself, but really it all depends on how much they're marketing and other junk.
I guess-
does not scrap.
Yeah,
Well, see,
so
here's
Masami brings
why-
up a good point. It depends on how much Activision is kicking Blizzard in the ass right now. Because Activision might rush this out and it might be a shit game when it comes out, instead of what Blizzard is known for putting out, which is a finished product.
Well, here's one thing to think about is look at what Blizzard makes its money on. StarCraft 2 is not the hot game anymore.
It makes it subscriptions to WoW. That's their main source of income.
Yeah, but they need something new. Like the WoW subscriptions are what keep them afloat, but they have always along the way had those big, tent poles standing outside of WoW, and StarCraft 2 was huge. It was a huge esports title for a long time. I mean, it still played a ton of esports, but it's not the big game anymore. I mean, Diablo 3 is so long ago that, here we are now with the sequel. They need something, and I don't think they can wait 4 or 5 years.
When did Diablo 3 release? Okay,
2012.
I was gonna say 13, but okay, yeah, 12. So 8 years ago. That's a long fucking time to live off of.
I believe 4 years after that, in 2016, we got Rise of the Necromancer. That was their expansion pack, and then between then and now, we've had Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm, and another StarCraft game got put out.
That are going strong. What season are they in now?
What, Overwatch?
No, Diablo, like season 20.
Oh, yeah, it's like 20.
So there's definitely people that are still playing Diablo, but they're probably itching for a new game. I know I would be after 8 years playing the same game.
All the people who've been playing WoW the entire time.
I just could
2003?
never get into WoW.
No, neither could I. Linus was in it for a while, though.
Yeah,
I know they just
fell into
released.
I was deeply addicted to it for a good few years, from the time of Burning Crusade through about right as Cataclysm came out, and then it just kind of was not the same game anymore, and I went on to other things.
I've never played it, but I've watched probably dozens, if not hundreds of hours of other people playing it when I was really, really stoned and just would go over to my friend's house and watch it play WoW. It was like my own weird fantasy movie thing happening, and never played it.
A lot of pretty lights.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, let's hear.
I've heard that Doc knows. He had all these different add-ons and shit, so he was tracking all the damage that he did and shit, and so it was always kind of hilarious just to sit and watch it. But yeah, that type of gameplay.
There was a time where I had replaced my entire HUD with mods. Literally the entire interface was just custom done.
That actually does bring up an interesting side topic for D4, and this is something that I talked to DrNiggle about earlier in the days of D3. Was looking at WoW and how customizable that is, and how they've left it completely open to all these different kind of mods, just for allowing users to,
Track
have
data.
more data. And there's none of that for Diablo 3. I wonder if
Not only is there none of that for D3, if you use it, you get banned.
I was gonna say they have an anti-cheat in Diablo 3, right?
Yes, they do, and also an anti-mod an anti-mod monitoring interface.
See, I'm all for anti-cheat, but like anti-data, that annoys me. Like, it'd be nice to have
UI
more than
mod,
just the
stuff like
shitty
that.
flashing red damage numbers that Diablo gives you. Like, it'd be nice to have some sort of, quantitative measurement of what you do.
So
when you play.
I have no idea how data is tracked in WoW. I'm assuming that anything that allows you to keep track of data in the way that WoW allows you to keep track of data, the mod would have to be a hook-in of some sort. Maybe hook-ins in Diablo are also the primary way to cheat, so they just said fuck it, and there's none of that allowed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they would allow mod support in D4, but that's saying like that we'd even be interested in mods in D4 anyway. I have no idea. The footage that they put out right now, the gameplay that put out right now is like, the UI is pretty, but I'm not in there. I'm not playing the game. I don't really know if there's anything else that I would want apart from what I've seen.
Well, listen, we've played plenty of hours of Diablo. Like, at a certain point,
plenty of stuff in D3 that I would like, definitely, yeah.
Well, but at a certain point, it's like, all right, I'm doing this Rift run for the 1,000th time. Yes, the UI might be pretty, but after a while, that doesn't matter anymore. And you might get curious about what else is out there, like what other information you could be looking at. But
for fuck's sake, do you remember they were banning people for using macros?
Oh my god.
What?
wait, were they?
They were, yeah. This was back when
Wow.
CM Wiz was a thing. In the day pre-Rise of the Necromancer, the CM Wiz, Critical Mass Wizard, was a thing where you froze all the targets around you and you blew anything up that was within range of you. It was awesome. It was awesome crowd control. And the way that you did this was you basically spammed 1, 2, 3. So you'd be, it would sound something like this. And you'd just be doing that. You'd be doing that for like hours on end. And so Leetness and I and some other players, and Spirit and all the rest of this, we were just like, well, fuck this. We're not going to break our keyboards and we're getting carpal tunnel, so let's just program in macros. Cut to like 2 weeks later, there are all these articles coming out about people being banned for using macros in D3. And that was funny because that went on for years.
I forget what the program was, but I had one of those like scripted, like where you could script key presses, and I used it in D3 all the time, and it never caused any problems.
That was, well, Leetness and Spirit and I never got banned for using our macros for CM Wiz, or later on when there was some other build that we also programmed macros for, but it made us when these articles came out, we paused and we were like, maybe we shouldn't, and then Blizzard sort of waved back and forth on it, and then eventually someone called bullshit because they gave away some mouse or something. They partnered with Razer and they gave away a special edition Diablo mouse.
The Naga or whatever.
Yeah. And that thing actually came pre-programmed with macros for Diablo, so people pointed at that and were like, hey, Blizzard, bullshit. And Blizzard eventually said, yeah, I guess.
I was going to say, because that mouse uses Razer Synapse, which I have for my mouse and my keyboard. And if you open it up and you look at my keyboard, which I have 2012 Deathstalker, and it right in the snaps, it shows you a place to do macros and stuff, and you can set it up for different games and shit. And it's built right into the same software that does the lighting for the keyboard. So it would be, to me, extremely difficult for Blizzard to pick up that I'm only running snaps for my lighting and not for macros on my mouse or some shit like that when it's all in the same program. I don't think they'd have that technology. So yeah, that was kind of bullshit, but
So the
I've
point
heard of Stranger Things.
it is an interesting point. How will Blizzard address mod support and external stuff like that in Diablo 4? It would be nice if it was not the same as Diablo 3. It would be nice if they grew a bit.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're not game-changing mods, I got no issues with it. Like UI mods, or say they don't actually give native controller support, but they allow somebody to mod it into the game so that you can use controllers instead of a mouse and keyboard. Like that's stuff to me that doesn't change the gameplay, but it makes it more accessible to more people. That's fine, but like you add in mods that make you better than other people, that's cheating. I mean, that's a cheat, not a mod.
Right.
Well, I hate the idea of there being cheating in a PvE game
I was gonna say
where you only
Diablo's-
play by yourself or with friends. I mean, you can play with randoms, but fuck that. Like,
but there's no
what's-
PvP, right? In D3.
Yeah, there is. It's not popular at all,
Oh,
but there
okay.
is.
I've never done it once. I don't. If somebody was like, "Hey, let's PvP," I wouldn't even know how to go about doing it.
We did it as a gag. I still have videos of that, of Steel and Cardiac dueling, just like for shits and giggles.
Like, with how different and how specialized the utilities of each build is, it's such a stupid thing to do.
Well, there's no point. Like, yeah, there are some classes that are just obviously, like Demon Hunter, instantly deals massive AoE damage like that. A wizard can do just as much damage, if not more, but there's a wind-up time. So, wizard versus Demon Hunter wins every time.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like rock paper scissors. Of this different build beats this different build, but loses to this build. But it's such a pointless thing to do. There's certainly no like organized structure around PvP combat like in other games where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go into a PvP mode and do this game against other people, like first person shooter against other people. It's not like that. It's just you just use your stupid skills against other people and that's it.
So more interesting stuff about D4 anyway. The people who play D3 will be familiar with the skill rune system. Basically, you unlock skills and you unlock runes for those skills as you level up, and the runes alter the way that the skills work.
Oh, that was
And-
D2.
No, that was D3. D2 was you level up your skills, which is what D4 is returning to. So there's no skill rune system in D4. The systems from earlier series, I'm quoting the article, series from earlier series entries are returning, letting you improve your abilities, and they will gain new effects through leveling up by spending points. And later the more... Oh yeah, and then it gets onto basically the game modes. When you start the game, when you go into the game, you will be in a massive public world, like WoW. So it's an MMORPG setup. And when you go into dungeons, specifically, that's when you group up with your friends, and you have semi-private sessions. So that's how they're going to craft this world, which is interesting. That's new for any Diablo game.
What's the point of that?
I'm not sure yet, but I think it has something to do with much larger boss battles. They want like 50 to 100 people to be able to fight something that's just monstrously big and strong. So you have this.
Oh,
like,
so they're
epic battle
adding
sequence.
WoW to Diablo.
It sounds like
Basically.
they are taking some of the more popular elements of WoW and they're adding it to the world of Diablo, while still keeping semi-private dungeons and private parties and all the rest of that.
It sounds like there's an MMO I played, Defiance, the one based on the TV show, and that's how that is. Like you can group up in your squad of 4 and you run around, but there's all these other people, and at any point in time you can stop at like one of these world events and you can be shooting them, whatever, and this other group can come in and help you out. And the boss battles you're talking about are kind of like Arc Falls, where there's one giant behemoth of a boss and there's 50 to 100 people all trying to shoot this one boss, and there's, obviously it has little minions that come out and stuff like that. It was one of the better things that Defiance did. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I just now realizing that whole system probably came from WoW, but it was enjoyable. Little crazy. Sometimes some things didn't come through. I will say there's probably going to be some graphical shit, like you might see a whole bunch of defaults running around. Like your customization's not going to show through in those big areas because the server has to render 100 different people that are all custom, and if your computer can't keep up, you see a bunch of defaults or whatever. But that sounds like a cool idea. I mean, it's definitely interesting.
I'll be interested to see how it turns out when hopefully we'll get a closed beta or an open beta in the next couple of years, year or 2 years.
Honestly, it almost feels like this is the successor to WoW. Like, they're not going to do a World of Warcraft 2. They're just going to do a different style of MMO to kind of transfer everyone over there. But that's just my pessimistic business major sense kicking in.
Yeah, you're right. Well, then your pessimistic business major sense should might also pick up on whether or not that Diablo 4 will be like Diablo games in the past, where you bought it and you had it, or if it will be a subscription model, since they are introducing MMORPG elements into this.
Hopefully it's not a subscription model. I hate games like that.
Yeah, if it is, then I won't be playing it, but there's no way to know that right now.
Right.
Yeah, just anytime I hear open world and the ability to either play with people or that sort of thing, it just, like, I'm surprised, D3 has as much of that sort of functionality as it does without any other cost other than the game itself.
Yeah, I mean, they could go with a Elder Scrolls Online business model too, where you buy it, you own it, and then they do have the like premium subscription, so you can still do the month-to-month subscription based thing that gives you extra stuff in the game, and it gives you bonus XP and all that stuff. But you can also pay $60. You own the game. You can log in and play it whenever you want to. You just don't have all the extras, and you're not going to make as much money as somebody who pays the monthly subscription.
Yeah, that's a reasonably decent model.
I mean, it's been working for them for 5 years, so I mean, and they do release new like expansion pack every year or so. Like Skyrim is supposed to drop, I believe it's the 16th of this month is when they're going to go back to Skyrim, and you can play Skyrim in Elder Scrolls Online, which should be interesting. Although I have some issues with Elder Scrolls Online too. The UI is complete trash to me. I'm not a hack and slash guy. I'll be right out there and open and the whole thing with it. But I was playing with Necro the other day, and we both jumped in, and we could not figure out how to set a fucking mission so that everybody in the party could be on that same quest. Like, I could start a quest, but he didn't get the like he wasn't included on the quest. Like, in Breakpoint, we bitched and complained because you have to unpin it and then repin it, and then all the members of the group can join you on it. After dealing with ESO, that system is not so horrible. I can deal with that.
I really want to watch the video right now of the who's the CEO of Bethesda, the wicked smart nerd, talking there in his article. He's like, he's talking about being back in high school. He's like, I want to program video games, and everyone told me, go back to the chess club, nerd. Well, who's laughing now? And then he gets all serious. He's like, yes, I was in the chess club. It's such an awkward interview with that guy.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, but hopefully he wasn't the one who made Fallout 76.
He is the genius behind every single Bethesda title, for better or worse.
Oh, so we can blame him for Fallout 76.
Everything.
And
Absolutely
well,
everything.
that game. I can't even believe that game is still going. Like it shocks me to this day. That
It's achieved meme status. So people play it as a gag now. But yes, there's some GSers who still play it for fun, not necessarily all that seriously, but yeah, I guess there's still fun to be had in that game.
I own it, but the whole I don't like the way they did it. I was waiting for private lobbies to really start to play it, and then I found out you have to pay money to play on fucking private servers.
That's the whole thing
and
about
I said,
Fallout
"Fuck you."
76. Yeah, that's the whole thing about that game. Everything is money. Like what is it? There's like a special edition Founders Pack that's like $30, and you get an emote and some item, and that's it. That's what you're paying $30 for.
Yeah,
But that
a
mechanic
shit
is all over that game. Everything is overpriced. Even the glitter.
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing, what I liked about the game was it was finally a Fallout game that you could play with your friends. Like that was my thing. I could never get
great
through
idea.
a Fallout game because I would just get bored with it. But it's something about playing with your friends that, gets you by those points where you're like, oh, this is so fucking boring. But, you got DrNiggle blowing up fucking fire extinguishers and stunning your ass. That helps get you through, places like that. But then, it was such a shit show that I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, I think I made it to level 10 and I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm fucking out. Goodbye.
The thing is, I mean, it's a great idea to have a Fallout game where you can finally play with your friends and all the rest of that. But according to Omega, we talked about this a while ago, maybe a year ago now. What made all the Fallout games before this was the absolutely fantastic NPCs and the storylines that you could get into and all that. They took all of that out. So you can play with your friends, but there are no more great NPC storylines or NPC characters. And then, it kind of fell apart.
I think what they needed to do was they needed to take Fallout 4, make it co-op, and re-release the game. Perfect Fallout game.
Never happening.
Never. I mean, we can hope maybe modders will give us co-op, but that's their best bet, and I'm not going to count on that.
It's the story of Bethesda's life. The modders come in and save every game that they put out.
Oh, it's crazy. Like, what year did Skyrim come out? That had to have been like right around the same time as Diablo 3, right? 2012. It's still alive and kicking today, not because of Bethesda, but because of the community and modders.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. 2011 is when Skyrim came out.
Really? It's been 9 years.
November 11th, 2011. That's... Yeah, well, actually, that's kind of why I started getting back
it came out 11/11/11.
That's correct.
Okay.
But that was the reason why I reinstalled Elder Scrolls Online, because they're going back to Skyrim, and I really liked the map of Skyrim. Like, I enjoyed the worlds, and the graphics are great and stuff, so I was really looking forward to going back to Skyrim with, friends and being able to play co-op through Skyrim, because it was fun solo, but it was also so fucking boring solo. Like, there was just so much map and so many things to do that it just got old. And then, of course, I somehow got past the Frost Bear that's 14 higher level than I was, and I couldn't get back by him, so my save was completely trash. Thank you, Skyrim.
Yay. All right. So yeah, that's coming out this in April, I think, somewhere in then. But that doesn't matter because we're all going to be playing Cyberpunk 2070 and on April 16th. April 16th is the release date. Action figures are still available.
Yeah, and they did say multiplayer is coming to that game, but they didn't say it's not going to be their release. and it won't be until after all the story DLCs are released for Cyberpunk. And they have not said if it's going to be co-op or if it's going to be PvP. I personally hope it's more of co-op multiplayer than it is PvP, because that'll just be a complete waste of what looks to be a fantastic universe and worlds.
Oh yeah, it's the Cyberpunk is awesome, and they've actually, there's an RPG associated with the whole thing that they've actually purposefully held back while they wait for the game to release. I actually bought the little like jumpstart thing for the RPG, so I'm pretty excited about both that and the game in general. I mean, like I normally go for co-op for like games I can play with friends, but between The Witcher and other things, they're like one of the only games I enjoy like playing by myself.
Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, again, I wish it was co-op too, because I think even if it's only 2-player co-op, I feel like it would be beneficial to the game, but I'm not going to buy it just because it's solo. Definitely on my games that will be pre-ordered, and I haven't been pre-ordering many games.
You remember how in 2015 everybody was like, "Oh my God, look at Back to the Future 2. It's not like that at all." I don't at all want to live to 90, but it'd be fun to live to 2077 just to like look back on this game and be like, they didn't quite get that right.
Yeah.
That game looks way nicer than where we live now. The fuck?
Right?
Half the planet's gonna be a desert. The rest of it's gonna look like Blade Runner, 2040, whatever the last Blade Runner that came out was.
Are we talking the classic one or the shitty
No.
remake?
It's not. It's how dare you? It's not a shitty remake. They actually did. I was actually really impressed that they did such a good job on the remake that they did. They captured a lot of the texture of the first one.
I really enjoyed the second one. Really did.
It was you made a comment about going back and watching the first Jay and Silent Bob movie because you're worried about the new one.
Oh no, so I saw the new one. I was just trying to remember
Oh, yeah?
if the old one was anything like that, because I legitimately can't remember. So I want to go back and I want to watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I remember it being really fun and really entertaining. On the other hand, the first time I saw that movie, I was doing a lot of drugs. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch it.
You're also younger, too.
I was much
I mean,
younger.
No.
What was it, 15 years ago now that movie came out?
It was a while.
I mean, I was either just graduated or second year in college, I want to say, when that came out, like 2001, 2003.
I do absolutely remember Dogma, though. And they have some of the characters that were in Dogma in the new Jay and Silent Bob movie. Honestly, when I was going through the new movie,
2001.
all the movie really impressed upon me was, holy fuck, these people got old. And it made me depressed because now I feel old. Because I am.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
you're so old.
2001 is when Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was released. So 19 years ago.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. That's rip. There is one thing that happened this month that I always like hearing about, and it's probably one of my favorite things to hear about this time of the year. And no, it's not some dumb fucking gaming award show or anything like that. So every year right around this time, Awesome Games Done Quick does as a charity event. It's 24 hours. They stream all of it. This year they raised $3.13 million for charity. Getting Over It developer, the guy did it in 1 minute and 24 seconds. They beat Control, which just came out, in 49 minutes, which is pretty impressive. And the Getting Over It one, that's the sledgehammer and the guy in the pot.
Yeah, the one that was Let's Play YouTuber Fuel, basically. Like Surgeon Simulator. It was just something that you played so that you could rage at it. But Games Done Quick, actually, if anyone hasn't ever checked out a Games Done Quick session, I encourage it because I like the way that they play games. They don't play video games the way that they're meant to be played. They find new and inventive ways to break the games and to play them and get from like start to finish as fast as humanly possible. These were also the people that did, I think it was Elder Scrolls Online years ago. They figured out how to get from the start of the game, the speed run, the entire storyline in like 40 minutes. Which is fucking incredible. They were level 3 when they finished the game.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah, it's but I love it because they, it's for charity. So it's, these guys take time out of their day and whatnot. Some of the ones, Able Gamers, Doctors Without Borders, and an organization for autism research, all great charities to donate to.
And if you are donating, you can select which charity you want to put your money towards, or you can leave it up to the people who are on the panel at the time and just say it's your choice.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I think it's over, right?
Yeah. It was it was I want to say it was last week.
Yeah,
is when
it was last
took
week.
place.
54,000 donations from across more than 80 countries.
Yeah, it's a great cause and it's fun to watch too. I mean, like Niggle said, they find ways to basically break the game and get there faster. I remember watching
have you
Nintendo
ever
speedruns.
Have you ever seen Dark Souls beaten in less than half an hour?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's that kind of play. It's fucking amazing. It's sometimes it's really entertaining to watch these guys. I really enjoyed their Dark Souls playthrough. They did 1, 2, and 3. I think two took the longest. It was like an hour.
Yeah, I think 2 was the largest game of the 3 as well. I never beat any of them. Because they're just fuck
You know what?
those
It turns
games.
out I didn't realize this. In Dark Souls, you don't actually have to fight anything. Who knew?
Yeah. Well, there's. My issue is always like they call him the intro boss. So you know how every game has that like intro level.
Oh yeah.
You can never beat the fucking boss for whatever reason. They teach you all these fucking things, and then they don't tell you how to beat the fucking boss, and you sit there and die over and over and over and over.
You're supposed to buy the hardcover game guide.
Yes.
Or just do what the speedrunner did and trick the thing into charging itself off a cliff.
That's great. That's great. I've never seen any of the Dark Souls, but I have seen Bloodborne, and that would be fun to watch them speed through.
Yeah,
Definitely,
Remnant from Ashes is one I would like to see speed run through. It's a third-person shooter that's Souls-like, and I can attest that it is very much Dark Souls-like game. I have raged quit many times in that game, and I'm not even through the first fucking part of the game. It's so much fun, but it's not fun at the same time.
All right, so what is this about a Samsung Galaxy Chromebook?
No,
tech gadgets.
Yeah, it's actually for the very first one. Razer released a new controller called the Kinchi, and it's basically it's a controller for Android phones and iOS phones. It doesn't use Bluetooth like a lot of these sandwich. It looks like the Nintendo Switch. For those of you that can't see, it basically looks like a Nintendo Switch, but it's hardwired into the phone. It has a USB-C connection or a Lightning connection for an iPhone one on one side, and it plugs into your phone, so it's hardwired, and there's no Bluetooth.
So your phone snaps into the middle of it where the screen on the Switch would be.
Yeah, and it played. The buttons are pretty much just. It's got all the same buttons as a Switch. I really like the looks of it. It's a cool I've played Android with an Xbox controller, which is probably the easiest one for most people. It Bluetooths right up and everything just works on it. I do like the hardwired better than Bluetooth. I feel it would, like they said, have less latency and less jankiness. And it's, obviously they'll have an app, so it'll be supporting certain games. It'll also work with Google Strata on your phone too, so that's cool, I guess. But yeah, that was the only thing that I saw in that article that was worth mentioning.
Yeah, mobile gaming. We got to it anyway. Tried to bury it with Diablo 4, but
Yes, because everyone has a phone, right?
That's so before the podcast, there's a trailer on here, and there's a game that we absolutely love making fun of Leapness for. And when I clicked on the trailer, like my brain wasn't reading it right, and I read it as the other game, and that's where the whole comment about, oh, it looks really sci-fi. Not realizing it's not Diablo Immortal, it's Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal.
Yeah. So obviously we just talked about the trailer. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I thought it looked pretty cool. Gameplay looked pretty cool. The levels design seemed more open than previous titles. You're not in a tunnel or anything like that, which I rather enjoyed.
Honestly,
nice.
the gameplay trailer that is up on YouTube right now reminds me a lot of Doom 3. In that, yeah, you do have obvious venues of progression through the level, through the maps and everything, but there are occasionally large open areas where you can jump around.
Yeah, and I don't know if he has a jetpack or what, but there's some crazy ass jumping thing going on.
Yeah,
and
you've always been able to jump like a madman in Doom. Except for the first one.
Yeah, well, the first one was, yeah. The first one was the first one.
That is factually accurate.
Yeah. I mean, nothing will ever be like it, and yet that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Original Doom and Wolfenstein. Ooh, those were the days.
Yeah, it's funny. You watch the original Doom, and then you watch Wolfenstein 3D, and you realize how similar they are. I mean, level design is a little bit different, but instead of killing demons, you're killing Nazis. Well, I guess
same
demons,
thing.
Nazis, same fucking thing. I mean, the guns are slightly different. They look a little different. That's about it. Oh, and one of them is your BJ, and I can't even. Do they even say your name in the first Doom, or is it just Doom Guy?
As far as I know, it's always been just Doom Guy.
Yeah, unless it's Dwayne was it Carl Urban?
Yeah, it was Carl Urban.
Yeah, The Rock wasn't in that, right? So it must be.
No, he was in. He was totally in that. Yeah, he was in Doom. I just know it as Doom. It was probably just that was the name of the movie. But yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Carl Urban as Doom Guy.
That was such an awesomely bad movie. I love it.
It really was fantastic. I went back and I watched Dread with Carl Urban too. Every bit as awesome as I remember it being.
Yeah, that was a fantastic movie.
This is like the 18th time that we've brought these two movies up on a GS podcast. For fuck's sake, people, if you haven't watched them by now, go do it.
Go watch them. Yes.
Stay tuned for our recommended movie list coming soon. TM.
Oh my god, I would love to do that.
And, well, anything with Keanu Reeves has got to be in there, right?
Yes, John Wick
Probably.
1, 2, and 3.
Yes. Yeah, I almost didn't watch the first one because I have this thing in movies about animals being killed, especially if it's just sloppy storytelling or a bad plot point, and that's exactly what it was. So I started watching that movie, and I got to that point, and I was just like, yeah, okay, fuck this, and I turned it off. Then somebody was like, no, you have to. So I was like, all right.
Yeah, it was that scene was
It was fucking
horrible.
bullshit. That's
Like-
just sloppy. Whatever. The rest of the John Wick series, though, really good.
Oh,
Yes,
yes, once you get past that initial motivating point, and then everything just keeps rolling downhill, like, you know, the stone in Indiana Jones movie chasing you, growing bigger and bigger and bigger.
Couldn't the Russian guy just have, like, taken a shit on the hood of his car and he just got really super outraged at that, so he murdered everybody? Wouldn't that have been just equally as emotionally powerful?
I mean, yeah, I think it was.
appreciate that-
I think in the
Go ahead.
larger grand scheme of things, they were trying to kill John Wick's hope. And that's what the puppy was supposed to represent, was his hope and
But it was
his
a connection
normal
to his
life.
wife.
Right. And that was, the connection to a normal life, to his hope, and that was why they killed the puppy. I still don't agree with it. I agree with you. It was a stupid fucking plot point. I do like that he got the dog at the end of the movie, and it stays with him through the rest of the
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, at least they never repeated
Um,
that mistake.
It's yes and no. I don't. How many spoilers do we want for John Wick 3 here? I mean, I know it's been out for a while, but
No,
No, not yet. We can totally do a John Wick podcast again. Would be
yes, again.
All right, yeah.
Well, we are going to have to cover Keanu Reeves Day. So, I mean, I'm
That's
sure
true. We are.
Well, you know, Keanu Reeves is going to be in Cyberpunk, so that's fun.
that
Yeah,
too.
we're definitely gonna be doing a podcast about Cyberpunk's release. So
Yeah,
4 months away. It's practically tomorrow.
Right.
I know.
So
That's
we
so
have to do
fucking close.
one every day until, you know, we get there just to practice.
Yeah, why not? And speaking of games, or
Practice.
speaking of Keanu Reeves and games and movies and all the rest of that, the Tom Clancy's Division movie has entered pre-production, and we have confirmed, or IMDb confirmed, that Jessica Chastain and Jake Gyllenhaal are going to be the main characters. So there you go. Tom Clancy's The Division. It's getting a movie. It's in pre-production right now. Expected release is either at the end of this year or beginning of next year.
The question is it going to be better or worse than the Sands of Time movie?
Pretty much have to be better, wouldn't it?
Well, it could be
As long as
worse.
Well, the costume is great. Who cares?
Costume in Sands of Time was pretty good. If you like Jake Gyllenhaal's nipples, then yeah.
Well, this leading lady seems like she might be more well known than the leading lady in Prince of Persia.
Gonna be
not that
honest,
she
I don't
wasn't-
even remember who the leading lady in Sands of Time was.
I think the only other movie she was in was that Hansel and Gretel movie with the Archer from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No way. She was the leading lady? She's like super white.
In Hansel and Gretel? Yeah.
She was also the the woman who played the sister in the Hansel and Gretel movie with Deadeye from Avengers is also in the Attack of the Titans movie. She plays whoever the muse is, the demigod. Sorry, was it-
Chimera Artitone? No, that's not her. The fuck? Oh no, I got them mixed up, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's way too. I know Hollywood whitewashes a lot of movies, but she is way too white for a Prince of Persia movie.
'Cause, the Germa Araton is yeah.
Gemma Adderton.
We should have a whole podcast
Yeah.
of Gobi pronouncing difficult names.
It'll be awesome. People will
Yes,
love
'cause
it.
I will come right behind correcting him.
That's fine. As long as you agree with me that it's ambulance.
Ambulance. Whoa, Black Betty.
I think I just got a migraine from that.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Christ.
yes. And yes, I'm from Wisconsin. I'm not from the deep south. Just so we're clear on that. I was born and raised in Wisconsin, so that'll add to your migraine.
Yeah, it's that's fair. Okay, that's why Gobi pronounces it council instead of console and Discord instead of Discord.
See?
So it is that is regional.
Yeah, I mean it's there's another one that we get confused onto I remember there's a whole list of words that we go through, and I say them differently than a lot of other people do.
Do you say ask or axe?
Spell it.
ASK.
It's ask.
Okay. Let's try to remember. So one of the people that we hang out with says axe.
Like AXE.
Whoosh.
Yeah, when
Squash.
you know, let me ask you a question.
Wash is
Not unless
another
I'm really
good
drunk.
Wash. Yeah.
Yeah.
one. Whoosh.
Wash.
Well, that's you wash your clothes, or I use the wash.
Yep.
Look, Masami, all things considered, Masami is like, you have zero accent. It's like me, I'm from Boston, but I don't speak with a Boston accent. Masami is from the Midwest and does not speak with that. I've never heard an oh golly gosh out of you, or a gee whiz, or a you betcha, or a ayat, or anything like that.
About the craziest I get is every once in a while I get lazy and I say y'all.
Y'all's fine, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's wrong with y'all? I use
It's
y'all
not
all the time.
as you approach the East Coast or the Northeast Coast of the United States, y'all becomes much less prevalent.
Yeah,
That is the truth.
get her done, son.
Ugh. All right, what's our roundtable?
New Year's gaming resolutions.
I don't have one. Fuck resolutions. Next.
I don't make resolutions. I make commitments. Fuck commitments. So Masami, you must be the only one that makes resolutions. So
I
what's your
just threw
resolution?
it out there as something that maybe, you had a goal for the year, play more games, play less games, play different games, that sort of thing.
I'm gonna give this new game called Warframe a try.
Wow, that actually took a while.
It took 57 minutes,
time?
almost 58 minutes, yeah.
That's pretty good.
I was gonna say, I bet you couldn't go. I was gonna say a month, but that would be like cruel and unusual punishment, like a week without booting into Warframe. You still have to
Booting
game
it.
during that week. You
No,
just can't boot into Warframe for a week.
Now that's just like, that's asking me to throw away login rewards for a week. Can I at least just start the game, get my login reward, and then log out? Because I've done that before for a couple weeks in a row.
Yeah, I've done that too. It's like I'm not gonna play, but I'm at least gonna log in after 6 or 7 p.m. and do the thing.
Yeah,
so
I guess
cruel.
we'll give you that. Yeah, I mean, a month without Warframe, that would be like just sending you to prison, right?
I don't know how I feel about that.
We'd miss him too much. I mean, you'd be taking our warlord away from us. We'd just be heartbroken. I mean, what would you do with this new cafe and sushi bar?
Who would build pointless decorations in the dojo and give people free rides through Sanctuary Onslaught?
Definitely not this warlord. Definitely not this one. I was gonna say, isn't there like 3 warlords in this thing right here? I mean, 2 of us just got completely fucking shit on.
Yeah.
Omega and I are just fucking chopped liver over here.
There are 3 warlords. There are 4 ostensible Warframe players in this room, 3 of whom are warlords, and only one of whom has logged in the past week.
That's not true. I did.
That's right. You did like, yeah, okay. So yeah, anybody else have a New Year's gaming resolution?
Not really. I guess I'd like to try some different games with my son other than just shooters. I don't know how well that'll go, but it's out
Let's
there.
get some RPGs in his life.
Yeah, he's 5, so we're still working on reading subtitles. And yeah,
Gotta
RPGs
start
are a
him
little difficult for him yet.
Get him some of those point and click Sherlock Holmes games. Exercise that mental muscle.
He literally like gets bored with those. He plays The Escapist. Like, he doesn't mind puzzle games. I kind of almost thought about getting him like the Tomb Raider games, because those are, you know, regular action games or whatever, but you do
They're
have to
story
figure out
though.
puzzles to, you know, kind of go on. Especially the last Tomb Raider game. I really enjoyed that one.
There we go. That's why I asked you if you say ask or ax. It's because you say especially instead of especially. That's why.
Oh yeah, you're gonna, dude. If you sit there and nitpick my speech, like, you were gonna come up with all sorts of shit.
Yeah, it's not.
And I
It's not
say-
nitpicking. I know it's regional dialect. It doesn't bother me at all. I was trying to remember which word it was, and it's especially. That's the one it was. Okay, sorry.
Oh yeah, or probably.
Yeah, that's fine. Probably is. That's how I say it too.
Masami's over there like, I need fucking Tylenol to kill this migraine. It's okay.
Hasn't kicked in yet, but you know, it might be primitive at this point.
Well, I mean, if Tylenol doesn't work, there's other things like whiskey. Whiskey works wonders on multiple things. It even cures teething pain.
Mm.
For those that are curious, I mean,
We should do another GS podcast where we just recommend our favorite hardcore drugs.
I can't recommend any hardcore drugs, being a parent. I won't recommend against marijuana because we all know that makes everything wonderful.
Just great.
Just don't do it in front of your kids.
No, bad. Yeah, doing drugs when you have kids is bad parenting. Any situation.
Unless they're in bed and they're sleeping and you're trying to calm down because they've made you pull your fucking hair out. Yeah.
I think meth is pretty good.
I've heard good things about meth.
Yeah, I might have tried that once. I can't say that it was. I don't remember much of it. I must have been a really fun person. That's all I can come up with.
Oh well, good podcast.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so last night we were supposed to do this podcast last night, and some people didn't show up. So DrNiggle decided to play a nice joke and record a we'll call it an outtakes.
Yes.
And
severe
I will
outtakes.
I will post that podcast as well. But he will not be listed as a GS podcast. It will not be. It'll only be available on. Was that a video you sent me or audio? I can't remember.
It's the video. I can send you the audio too.
So it'll be on both
told you,
YouTube and.
I told everyone I was doing it. I announced very clearly I'm recording this.
But it will not be listed as a Gunslinger Gaming podcast because I don't think we covered anything gaming in it.
No, we shit on Twilight for the whole for like 20 minutes, and then we talked about glass butt plugs. Best podcast we ever did.
It will be out there for the world to hear, but you might have to do a little looking for it. And yeah.
And I would highly recommend headphones if you're doing it in a public.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not gonna want. Yeah,
they're
don't.
required.
Not suitable for children.
Yes.
Yeah, and make sure you're sitting down because you will laugh your ass off and fall on the floor, and you don't want to hurt yourself. Just a nice, gentle roll.
If you're in the bathroom, probably even better in case you piss yourself.
Yes. Not inaccurate.
But yeah, I guess we'll wrap up. Thank you guys for coming. again, and thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Penis.